there everyone, Matt here with virtualinstructor.com, and in this video I'd like to share with you a time lapse of the entire process of creating a still life oil painting from start to finish. Now, this time-lapse video is taken from a series of live lessons that we just wrapped up over at virtualinstructor.com. Of course, these live lessons are recorded and presented in real time. Now, for this live lesson series, I brought in my good friend and fellow artist and art teacher, Ashley Hurst, to lead in this series. His specialty is oil painting. Now, you might recognize Ashley from our Getting Sketchy series here. I know a lot of you guys here on YouTube love learning from Ashley. Now, this live lesson series, of course, is part of our membership program at virtualinstructor.com. If you want to access this complete live lesson series, just look for the link below this video. It will take you over to the website and give you information about how you can become a member. Now, our membership program includes a variety of drawing and painting courses on a variety of subjects and mediums, weekly live lessons, weekly critiques as part of the Members Minute, and even a year-long curriculum for visual arts teachers. Like I said, if you want to check out our membership program, I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, if you want to check out 3 of our course videos and ebooks for free, you can do so. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, if you're new to the YouTube channel or you haven't done so yet, I encourage you to subscribe. We cover a broad variety of drawing and painting media and subject matter here. So definitely subscribe to the channel. You won't regret it. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the process. So as you can see, this painting was created on canvas board, and Ashley used a modified grid technique to set up the contour line drawing. Now, instead of drawing squares that were exactly the same size on both the canvas and the photo reference, he instead just split each segment down into half. So he started with the overall size of the canvas, went right in the middle, down across the top, and down along the sides, and then segmented that even further, which resulted in rectangles instead of squares, and you can see the photo reference matches this, of course. Now, the initial sketch was created with graphite here, and Ashley used a regular old number 2 pencil for this. This is an HB pencil, and you can see with this initial sketch, he makes some fairly dark marks here. Ashley has somewhat of a heavy hand, which is perfectly acceptable for this type of art because the oil painting applications are going to cover up all of these graphite marks. So you can really be fairly free with your initial sketch, knowing that you're going to be covering up most of that sketch with an opaque painting application. Now, Ashley chose to do a combination of both indirect and direct painting for this particular image. And he started here with an underpainting. Now, an underpainting is designed just to establish the values, and this is a relatively loose underpainting. He thinned out the raw umber color that he used for the underpainting with a bit of solvent and worked with the white of the canvas in order to create the lighter values. And just the more opaque the raw umber applications were, the darker the value was. So you can see, again, it's a very loose underpainting. You can, of course, take your underpainting as far as you wish. This, of course, is just a step in the process in order to better understand the values and establish those values in place on the painting. Now, I mentioned that the approach is a combination of indirect and direct painting. With indirect painting, a fairly developed underpainting is created, and then a series of glazes is applied over the top. And the glazes, of course, are transparent and allow the values of the underpainting to show through. Now, in this particular case, Ashley is going to do some direct painting over the top of the underpainting. And direct painting is where you try to match the values in the colors in the subject and then apply them directly to the surface. So most paintings, honestly, are a combination of direct and indirect painting. Most beginner painters typically start with direct painting where they're just trying to match colors, but a combination of direct and indirect painting like Ashley is doing here gives you a broad level of control over the values and the colors. So you can see at this point, he's moved on now to the direct painting part of the process where he's matching the colors in the clove of garlic here. And you'll notice he's also exploiting the colors to a certain degree or exaggerating exaggerating the colors to a certain degree, where some of those cool grays are almost starting to look a little bit blue in areas. Now, Ashley is using traditional oil paints for this process and mostly hog bristle brushes for the most part. He does use some softer nylon brushes here and there, but those are mostly used in the latter stages of the painting where he's establishing some of the details. Only a few colors are used, so Ashley limited his color palette. He used raw umber, obviously, for the initial underpainting. He also used ultramarine. He used two different reds, a cadmium red and also alizarin crimson. You can also see that there is a touch of yellow ochre up there, cadmium yellow, and of course he also used a bit of titanium white as well. Now, of course, one of the major advantages to working with oils is that they dry so incredibly slowly. This allows the artist to focus on the shapes of color and value that they see on the subject, put those shapes of value and color in place, and then use the tip of the brush to blend those applications together so you can easily create smooth transitions of value and color. You can also alter the colors once they're in place on the surface, and as we'll see later in the process, you can also apply glazes over the top to alter the color further as well. So oil paints are perhaps the most versatile painting medium out there. They're definitely the most forgiving painting medium out there. Now at this point you can see that there are some red accents in the glass, but I want you to pay special attention to this because right now they look extremely out of place because the background, of course, is still made up of the raw umber. But as you'll see in a moment, as Ashley is starting to mix up some of the reds for the background and he starts applying them to the surface, that red starts to make a whole lot more sense in the bottle. So that's just a good example of how you have to trust the process when you're going through a painting. A lot of times people will do the right thing during the painting process, but then second guess themselves and then start making changes before they've gotten deep enough into the painting to make those changes. So a lot of times it's important to just trust your instincts as a painter and trust your process, as you can see Ashley definitely did here. Now, Ashley chose to leave out some of the details in the background, like the pattern, and this is purposeful because, of course, that pattern is rather busy, and of course, the focus needed to be on the three elements here in the foreground, the three elements that the painting is about: the onion, the garlic, and the bottle, of course. And by adding a pattern in the background, that would have distracted the viewer to a certain degree and made the viewer focus on the background. So it's important to sometimes remove things in your painting so that the visual experience by the viewer is a lot better. Now, as you can see, he's continuing to mix up paints. He's using both the alizarin crimson and the cadmium red here to make a variety of different reds. Cadmium red, of course, is a warmer red, and alizarin crimson is a cooler red. That just simply means that alizarin crimson leans a little bit closer to blue compared to cadmium red, which leans a little closer to yellow, of course. Of course, both of those reds are warm. So you can see here he's adding some of the details and painting around the shapes of the eucalyptus at the top. And here's a great example of how painting those basic shapes initially is so incredibly important. You can see that there's a solid shape developing there of lighter value coming down right underneath the eucalyptus. And then you'll notice that he starts to blend these applications, and as these applications are blended, it starts to look more like folded fabric. Again, just a tremendous advantage that oil paint has over acrylic paint, for example. Then it was time to address some of the smaller, more finer details here, like the roots on the garlic, and you can see he switched over now to a nylon brush. This brush is designed for watercolor. It's obviously a softer brush compared to the hog bristle brushes, but it's great for applying details. And he's using quite a bit of the medium here to make the paint a little bit easier to work with, to get into that small area to develop the detail. He's relying heavily on the contrast and value here to create the illusion that's necessary. Now for the final adjustments to the painting, Ashley decided to apply a few glazes over the top. Now it's important that your oil painting is dry underneath before you apply these glazes, but you can see just a bit of the medium is mixed with the paint. You want to make sure that you're using a transparent paint. You can find this information on the back of your paint tube. Here he's applying a bit of Indian yellow, but he just applied a bit of ultramarine and also a bit of alizarin crimson there, of course mixed with a healthy amount amount of solvent. Now, these glazes, of course, help to unify the painting, and as you can see here, the Indian yellow glaze definitely helped to warm up the background so that the red was quite a bit more vibrant, which made all of the parts in this painting pop a lot more and look a whole lot more interesting. Now, of course, a soft brush should be used to apply glazes. And here's a look at the completed painting. It took Ashley around 10 hours to complete. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were able to pick up a couple of things here and there. Again, I want to thank Ashley for being a part of this live lesson series. I'm sure he's going to be a part of some of the future live lesson series as well. One last reminder, if you're new to the channel or you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel and click on that bell notification so you're notified when new videos are posted. Of course, you can check out 3 course videos and ebooks for free. There's a link in the description below. And also, if you want to become a member and get access to all of our courses, weekly live lessons, weekly critiques, and a year-long curriculum for visual arts teachers, there's a link in the description below the video so you can go check that out as well. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you all the very best in your artistic success.